Welcome to Falcon Times. Today we turn our attention to the latest crisis in the Middle East, one that is sending shockwaves from Doha to Washington. The Israeli strike on Qatari soil, targeting Hamas officials in the capital city of Doha, has not only unsettled the Gulf region but has also tested one of the most important and complicated relationships in global politics, the alliance between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. The two men, bound together by years of political cooperation and strategic partnership, now find themselves once again navigating turbulence, irritation, and the limits of loyalty. On Tuesday, Israeli fighter jets launched a precision strike in Doha. The stated target was senior Hamas leaders who Israel claims were operating from Qatari territory. For Israel, this was a daring act meant to send a signal of strength and deterrence. For Qatar, it was nothing less than an assault on sovereignty. The strike triggered immediate condemnation from across the Arab world. The United Nations called it a violation of international law. European leaders expressed alarm, warning that such unilateral action could derail already fragile diplomatic efforts in the region. But perhaps the most surprising element was not the condemnation. It was the revelation that Washington had been kept in the dark. According to U.S. officials, Israel did not give prior notice of the operation, breaking with a long-standing norm of coordination between the two allies. For Trump, the man who has built much of his political persona on projecting control and loyalty, this was a personal annoyance. Reports suggest he was frustrated to learn that Netanyahu had acted unilaterally, leaving him blindsided. Yet for those who follow the Trump-Netanyahu dynamic closely, this tension is not new. Their relationship has always been complicated. Trump has given Netanyahu some of the greatest diplomatic victories in Israel's modern history. He recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. He moved the U.S. Embassy. He helped broker the Abraham Accords. At the same time, Trump has not forgotten Netanyahu's decision to congratulate Joe Biden after the 2020 election. In Trump's world, loyalty is paramount, and that moment felt like betrayal. Now, with Israel's actions in Qatar, Trump again feels Netanyahu is difficult to manage, too willing to act on his own terms. Analysts say he is annoyed, even irritated. But the question is, will this annoyance lead to a rupture? Most experts believe the answer is no. The alliance between Trump and Netanyahu, while rocky at times, is built on foundations too deep to crack easily. For Trump, political support for Israel remains a core part of his brand, particularly with evangelical voters at home. For Netanyahu, Trump remains a crucial ally on the global stage. The two may bicker, they may irritate each other, but they continue to need one another. Inside Washington, the mood is more complicated. Pentagon officials admitted they were caught by surprise. While U.S. forces stationed in Qatar were not put at risk, the lack of coordination raised serious questions. Did Israel believe Washington would try to stop the strike? Did Netanyahu fear leaks? Or does this reflect a deeper mistrust between the two governments? Lawmakers on Capitol Hill expressed mixed reactions. Some argued Israel was justified in striking Hamas leaders wherever they operate. Others warned that unilateral actions that violate the sovereignty of an American ally like Qatar undermine U.S. credibility in the region. Analysts who study the Trump-Netanyahu relationship point out that this moment is emblematic of their dynamic. Trump values loyalty and control. Netanyahu values survival and decisive action. The two instincts do not always align. But in the end, the strategic partnership holds. The United States provides Israel with military aid, advanced technology, and crucial diplomatic protection at the United Nations. Israel, in turn, offers intelligence, regional leverage, and the promise of stability in an otherwise unstable Middle East. For Trump, breaking with Netanyahu is politically risky. For Netanyahu, losing Trump's support would be disastrous. This interdependence ensures that even when tensions rise, the alliance endures. But what about the regional picture? Qatar has reacted angrily, calling the strike a flagrant violation of its sovereignty. The Gulf state, which has long played a balancing role in Middle Eastern diplomacy, suddenly finds itself directly targeted. Turkey, Iran, and several Arab states have condemned the attack, warning that it could spark wider escalation. The United Nations Security Council has called for an emergency session. European governments are alarmed that hard-won diplomatic gains could unravel. Gulf states, some of which have normalized relations with Israel, now face a dilemma. Do they stand with Qatar to defend sovereignty? Or do they remain silent to protect their ties with Washington and Tel Aviv? This episode highlights a dangerous trend. Israel has shown it is willing to act unilaterally, even in a sensitive environment like Qatar, confident that the United States, no matter who is president, will ultimately stand by it. For Washington, being blindsided by an ally is deeply uncomfortable. It weakens America's image as the central player in Middle Eastern diplomacy. For Trump personally, it is a blow to his reputation as a dealmaker who keeps allies in line. Yet the cost of openly confronting Netanyahu may be higher than the irritation of staying silent. As the dust settles, one truth remains. The Trump-Netanyahu alliance is being tested, but it is not breaking. Trump is irritated, yes, but his broader political calculus pushes him toward continued support. Netanyahu, for his part, will likely continue to test boundaries, calculating that Trump's frustration will never outweigh the strategic value of Israel to the United States. This dynamic, loyalty mixed with distrust, annoyance balanced with necessity, defines their partnership. The bombing in Qatar has therefore become more than just a military strike. It is a moment that reveals the limits of alliances, the fragility of trust, and the enduring reality of realpolitik. For Qatar, the violation of sovereignty is a wound that will take time to heal. For the Arab world, it is another reminder of how volatile the region remains. For the United States, it is a warning that even the closest allies can act without notice, leaving Washington scrambling to respond. And so we end with a question: how many more shocks can this relationship endure? How many times can Trump feel betrayed, sidelined, or irritated before the political bond truly begins to crack? Or is the alliance so deeply rooted in mutual benefit that no amount of personal frustration will undo it? For now, the evidence suggests that irritation will fade, politics will prevail, and the Trump-Netanyahu partnership will endure, however strained. The region, meanwhile, remains on edge, waiting for the next move, the next strike, the next test of alliances.